Today on Fast Food. It's time to go to school with nutritional sciences PhD holder Layne Norton as we discuss fasting.
Maybe fasting indefinitely is the answer.
Cancer.
If I found out I had cancer tomorrow, I'd probably seriously consider a ketogenic diet.
Building muscle on a low-protein, plant-based diet.
They've shown that people can grow muscle eating, very low-protein diets.
And I attempt to get the Layne Norton squat seal of approval. Also, comedy magician and cruise ship legend Rich Purpura.
Shut up, bitch!
Gives my fat loss program a 1-week test run. And juggler turned firefighter Alfonso Guerra meets up with me at Frankie's Deli for sandwiches and Mojo donuts on the very same day I have to fit into my performance pants to open for Rich's show in Miami Lakes. It's a protein-packed, star-studded cast of eclectic characters today on Fast Food. Bienvenidos a Miami. 4 hours in a car with Rich Purpura. 4 hours sitting next to Rich Purpura for 4 hours. 4 hours for Rich Purpura to ask all the questions he's been saving up specifically for this ride up to Ellington from Miami. A 4-hour ride.
You got some questions? Go ahead.
Got nothing.
We're driving up to Ellington to perform in a condo showcase. After the showcase, I'm meeting up with Layne Norton, but first, 4 hours in a car with Rich Purpura.
You get a stomachache from not eating?
I've never gotten a stomachache from not eating.
Now you're hurting your body in any way with this starving yourself and then eating. Starving and eating. I mean, the drastic change. Does that shock your...
It's not drastic at all. It's the way we...
No food to food, anything you want is not drastic.
If you think of it from an evolutionary perspective...
Just give me the facts.
Back when food was not as available as it is now...
Correct.
That is how we live. We thrive in an environment where food is not always available. In fact, we're all dying, yourself included, because there's too much food available. We're overeating ourselves now. So all animals go through periods of starvation. When they find food, they binge because they don't know when they're going to find food again. That's how our bodies have adapted to survive. So it's probably the one thing regarding food that our bodies are most capable of handling.
You've conditioned your body, like you said, to overeat.
No, you don't undo hundreds of thousands of years of evolution just by eating like an asshole your whole life. You condition yourself for heart disease and cancer by eating like an asshole your whole life. You don't adapt to it. That's like saying if I wear enough asbestos-lined clothes, I'll adapt to it and then I'll become asbestos man.
Don't you build up a tolerance to it when you take a little bit of poison?
Have you built up a tolerance to overeating?
Well, yeah, because I've overeaten my whole life and I'm still alive, so I got some tolerance going.
And how's the quality of your life? How fit
Not
are
as
you?
good as it should be. If I were to start not eating and doing what you're doing,
Instantly better. Instantly better.
Wow.
Now there's still much more room to improve from that 2 weeks, but you'll see the difference there. Your body naturally heals yourself if you give it a chance to, and the way you give it a chance to is by not overfeeding it.
Yeah. Can a body be too damaged to reverse the cycle?
Yeah, if you're like a day away from death from cancer or AIDS, sure, but you give it enough time, it'll always improve.
In the past, what I have done, I had 3 meals a day, totaling under 1,000 calories. If I went back to that because it was successful, eating between noon and 6 o'clock at night and 1,000 calories a day, what do you think my results would be if I did that for 6 months to a year?
I can guess you'd be losing probably 3 pounds a week, maybe more.
That's about what I was doing, maybe a little more.
You're not eating until at least after the show, your showcase, which is like 2 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
I'm not eating until after I work out with Layne and then we go to dinner somewhere, which would be around 7 o'clock. We just finished the showcase. We're heading up to Tampa, which is about an hour away. We're in Ellington right now. Meet up with Layne Norton at Powerhouse Gym in Tampa, North Tampa. And the plan for today, you were going to bring an apple and a yam in case you got hungry or eat it on the way home. You did bring the yam and you had it cooked in the old age community.
Yes.
And you also have your apples.
Yes.
And so what did I see you eating a couple hours ago?
I actually thought it was a meatball, but it was the green peppers that they sauteed in with it with a half a spoonful of tomato sauce.
Why did you eat that?
Because I didn't think you would see me.
Literally like one spoonful of food and that was it?
That was it, and I haven't eaten since 5 o'clock last night.
I thought you said 6.
6.
All right, see if you had a timer, you would know how many hours.
If I had food, I wouldn't be delirious and I'd remember.
All right, are you opening that up right now?
Should I?
You can if you want to. It's 4 o'clock. What time do you want to be done eating today?
4:10.
All right. You're gonna get a real treat here. I'm getting a real treat here.
Delicious.
How fast?
Jason doesn't like to hear people chew. Shit, there's where I'm supposed to go.
So you can't eat a yam and drive at the same time if you're trying. And you got the phone in your hand? How fast do you think you can eat that?
I could have this thing done in less than 2 minutes.
Really? All right, go.
Want me to? I thought you wanted me to eat slow.
First, you can't make a U-turn here. Yeah, no, you're right. You should eat it slow.
Yeah, it's gone already.
Take one more bite, then drink a bunch of
You're
water.
gonna have to open the water because I got a phone on my lap.
All right,
I'm making a U-turn and I got a yam in my hand.
Well, I got a camera in my hand, but I can open the water. All right, it's a little warm.
Can I take another bite yet, or should I wait?
You wait 2 minutes.
Okay. My first eating lesson from Jason Garfield. I've ate by myself my whole life since I was on my, well, actually, I was breastfed by a neighbor till I was 12. But after that, I've eaten myself, and I've just destructed myself. I'm fat. I don't like it. Hopefully with Jason's help. Shut up, bitch! Hopefully with Jason's help, I'll learn to eat the right things at the right temperature, at the right speed.
And at the right time. How do you feel in terms of fullness?
Not hungry, but...
And you were hungry before you started eating it,
yes,
right?
and
All right, set it down. You're done. Set it down somewhere.
Well, I'm enjoying it, though.
Yeah, but take a break. Drink some more water. Put it down.
I'm not going to put it down. It's not got a wrapper on it.
Yeah, but if you're holding it, it's a lot easier to just keep eating it. You want to forget about it. Here.
Willpower, baby.
So you're going to just hold it and stare at it?
Well, when can I take my next bite? How much time are we talking?
Maybe never. Maybe you're
no,
done
I'm
for the day.
finishing this fucker. Excuse me.
I'm here with Layne Norton. Layne is so far the only guest on fast food to hold a PhD, specifically in nutritional sciences. I know Layne because he organized the first USAPL powerlifting meet at the second SkillCon. I bought your book, The Complete Contest Prep. The clothes that I wear are very tight.
Right.
So I always try to stay within 3 days worth of diet to fit into the pants.
Right.
My main focus in that book, I read the whole thing, but I was primarily focused on like the week before the contest.
Peak week, yeah.
Peak week, right. And then the day before and the day of. This book basically teaches you if you're a bodybuilder or bikini model, any sort of division where basically you have to lose as much fat as possible and maintain as much muscle as possible
right.
To get in the best shape and how to prepare for that. Now you have a new book coming out soon called Fat Loss Forever, which I'm guessing based off of your video series, Why Diets Fail, attempts to undo the damage taught in the first book.
Well, I mean...
The metabolic adaptation, what you do to your body to prepare for it.
It's a little more broad than that. Okay. Most diet books out there just focus on the diet, just losing the weight. And we don't really have a weight loss problem in America. People think we do, but we really don't. 6 out of every 7 obese people will lose a significant amount of body weight in their life.
So we have a weight keep it off problem.
Exactly. Yeah. What is associated with success are certain behavioral characteristics from people. So regardless of whatever diet you use to get in shape, there are certain behavioral characteristics you have to maintain in order to keep it off. It's basically the first book that I know of that looks at, okay, here's the problem with diets, and it doesn't try to sell you any particular diet. That's one of the other first books that doesn't try to sell you a particular diet. But then also addresses, okay, now here's how to keep it off. I don't know really many books that talk about that.
Watching your Why Diets Fail video series, I'm thinking to myself, what more could there be?
Yeah,
because there was a lot of information in those videos.
There's a lot of information.
And it hits on just about everything that everyone has gone through when they tried to lose weight.
Yeah, I think what this is going to do is organize it into a manner that's really palatable for people.
This seems more like it's a lifestyle tool set for everybody.
People in different diet groups and subcultures, they're very adamant about their particular decision to use that diet. Reason being is, for whatever reason, it tripped their algorithm for it to be sustainable for them in cases.
So
right?
it must work for everybody.
So it must work for everybody. A lot of people on the ketogenic diet, they say, I don't feel hungry at all on the ketogenic diet. If it was just hunger, we would have solved it a long time ago.
Yeah.
So
you can be physically full and still have cravings for completely different things.
Of course, yes, of course. Vegans who are really passionate about veganism. Listen, if somebody doesn't want to eat animals for ethical reasons, it's not my place to judge them for that. That's perfectly fine, and in some ways I admire them for that. But don't then try to reverse engineer the science to fit what you want everybody else to do.
It becomes a religion at
That's
that
correct.
point for them.
And but carnivore diet people do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Keto diet people do the same thing.
It'll go around forever.
Vegans think I'm a meat zealot, and meat zealots think I'm a vegan zealot or a carb zealot,
Yeah.
And the reality is, no, I'm just a evidence zealot. Sure, the vegan diets have certain benefits, absolutely, but they also have certain drawbacks. Just like a meat-only diet will have certain benefits, but will also have certain drawbacks. The really uncomfortable fact that people don't want to acknowledge is that there probably isn't one best diet for everything, right? So if you're doing a diet that's best for heart health, it may not be the best thing for cancer. If you're doing something for cancer, it may not be the best thing for muscle growth. If you're doing the best thing for muscle growth, it may not be the best thing for something else. People get really caught up in these intricate details of, intermittent fasting increased insulin sensitivity relevant to not... Okay, well, that's great, but if you can't stick to intermittent fasting, it's not going to do any damn bit of good. Right?
It's a very specific skill for specific people that like that challenge, and it works for them.
And for some people, like I say, it trips their algorithm, and they can adhere to that. And some people even say, why do you even have to track calories? Well, that's great. But for a lot of people, they need to be able to do that because they cannot intuitively energy restrict without that. So,
and that's probably what's so good about your book, is that you're laying out all the options. It's going to trip somebody's algorithm, and they're going to find the one that works for them.
Well, that's what the hope is that by laying out these different options, people can try different things, and whatever, for lack of a better term, whatever works for them can be helpful.
It's important to note that at this point, Layne had no idea that I primarily eat a plant-based diet and that I use various fasting protocols, intermittent fasting, multi-day fasting, etc. Layne's very busy writing books and training people and rehabilitating his back, so I didn't expect him to research what this show, Fast Food, was all about.
I know it's called fast food,
okay,
and
good,
I know
good.
It has something to do with nutrition.
But for me, this is a great compliment. I could be doing a show on dog shit and Layne might still agree to be a part of it. So what follows is Layne's authentic first reaction to my nutrition program, objectives, and fat loss methods.
Okay. So I haven't eaten in 40 hours.
Wow.
What are we going to work on today?
I've got a little bit of everything, mostly upper body stuff.
Well, let's do it.
Okay. So you're doing fasting. The first 18 hours are probably the toughest.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you get through, really the first day, if you can go to bed without eating, the next day is super easy.
Once you start depleting down your fat stores,
there's no getting around the math of that, right? You're gonna lose weight.
You can't starve if you got enough stored triglyceride,
Yeah.
What's up, Layne?
How's it going, buddy?
Okay. So, animal products and cancer.
Yeah.
Here's what I think I've learned about it, and I would love to be wrong or to have been reading faulty research, because I would love to keep eating meat. I'd love to keep eating eggs and dairy, cheese, all that stuff. That's my favorite stuff.
Yeah.
But I've seen so much, for me, compelling data and information. To be safe, I try to do a plant-based diet 6 out of 7 days a week. Leucine and methionine are like the evil amino acids that trigger growth, for one, which I think I agree with that, because you can't build muscles without growing, and growing is aging. So if you're trying to slow the aging process down, IGF-1 and mTOR, maybe not the best thing for that.
This is where nuance is very important and people leave this out. What makes your muscles grow is not systemic IGF-1. Systemic IGF-1 is IGF-1 that's released by the liver, that is basically travels in your bloodstream, goes to different tissues, and
But is that stimulated by your nutrition, by
it can be,
high?
yeah, sure. So higher protein diets stimulate release of IGF-1.
Okay.
What actually causes muscles to grow, the IGF-1, is actually what's called an autocrine response. So when you create mechanical tension, like we're doing here, your own muscle cells, because of that mechanical tension, will release their own IGF-1. It's actually called mechanogrowth factor, which will bind to the muscle cells, and as part of the mechanotransduction process, cause them to grow.
Now, if you're not exercising, you're just eating foods that stimulate that.
Right. So we know that injecting IGF-1 And we know that people who have higher IGF-1 tend to have higher rates of cancer. In metabolism, because A equals B and B equals C,
So it's
A does not equal C. If you look at the research on meat and protein, people who eat meat and higher protein tend to eat higher calories overall. They tend to eat less fruits and vegetables. They tend to not exercise as much. All of which are extremely powerful anti-cancer agents, right? So vegetables, fruits, exercise by itself. Now, one possible mechanism that does seem to be associated with meat is the intake of heterocyclic amines and polyaromatic hydrocarbons.
Charred meat, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Charred meat. So I do not recommend eating charred meat. Cancer is essentially what cancer is some kind of insult to your DNA, damage to your DNA that causes it to become replicated and not slow down. When you eat higher protein, yes, it triggers mTOR. You have an increase in mTOR activity. mTOR is a target of a cancer treatment, rapamycin. It's actually how they found it, and the name mTOR is mammalian target of rapamycin. Rapamycin is an anti-cancer drug, blocks mTOR, slows cancer growth. Well, obviously, we don't want leucine or protein because they'll stimulate mTOR. Well, the stimulation of mTOR is very transient with amino acids and protein. Whereas cancer, that is a long-term, low-level, constant elevation.
But if you're doing, say, like a high-protein diet, you're constantly feeding that back into the system.
It's still not quite the same. Still not the same. So
it becomes less transient. It goes in, it goes out, but then you put it back in, it goes in again, and it's in your system more often than not.
Yes and no. So the activation is actually very truncated. It basically switches itself on and turns itself off. So regardless of how much protein you eat at a time frame, it only goes up so high and then switches itself off. I think what we're going to get to the point where treatments are going to be so good that people live with it and they die from something else. And
well, we get the nanites to go in there and gene edit and split and destroy them and just take care of. I mean, that's basically what we've evolved to.
But by then Skynet will be self-aware, so we'll all be dead anyway.
Yeah. I'm about to get the Layne Norton seal of approval on my squats. One try.
We'll see about that. We're already facing the mirror wearing tennis shoes.
Facing the mirror and wearing tennis shoes. I'm such an idiot. How did that slip past me? Maybe I'm too cheap to invest in the proper squatting equipment, but I knew this. You don't wear a soft, cushiony sole to your shoe when you're trying to press your feet against weight. Even worse, my shoes have really comfy memory foam stuff, so now I really have to be on point with my form or I risk failing the test. Look at that, he's really paying attention. If your trainer doesn't get down on the ground to assess your squat form from below your crotch, he's not doing his job.
I did not get the seal of approval.
Not the first time.
Tell me why.
First time. So, I'm going to do the compliment sandwich. First thing is, your hips and knees are moving pretty well together, so I'm not seeing like a lot of herky-jerky, movements. You're right at or just a little bit above parallel. The major concern I saw is you're having a little bit of pelvic tuck. For you to remain upright, your pelvis is actually having to tuck under you just a little bit. To make enough space, your pelvis is tucking under.
They call that the butt wink, don't they?
Butt wink, right.
Yeah.
Now, it's not an egregious amount of butt wink.
I'm aghast to find out that I actually possess it myself.
It's very slight. If you didn't have a trained
If I just don't go down low enough, though, problem solved.
Yes, correct. What you can also do is allow yourself some more forward lean and do a bit more of a hip hinge. Allowing your knees to break, but your shins stay perpendicular. I'm actually allowing my hips to go back a little bit more.
Hips back, okay.
So this is kind of the hip hinge. So you're here, it goes back. Now, if you can combine that with allowing your knees to travel forward a little bit as well, now you've cleared out enough space. And the other half of the compliment sandwich I was going to say is actually your head positioning was very good. Okay. So that's good. What I'll do is I hip hinge.
So you're basically just sticking your butt back farther.
Correct. Okay. But I'm also breaking my knees as well. So they break in concert together. So if you watch my hip and my knees and how they work together. And you see how my back stays straight when I do that. So what I would say is you could probably bend just a little bit more forward and solve yourself for that butt wink. The other thing that can help you is heeled shoes. It's also a very small amount of butt wink. I'm being pretty nitpicky.
Let me try it again.
Yeah, try it again.
This is it, my final exam. Layne showed me everything I was doing wrong and how to fix it. Some last minute training tips which we can't hear because the audio cut out, and also this music is super cool. So this is it. Break the knees and the hip at the same time, and keep sticking your butt out like it's looking for food. It helps to imagine that there's a butt plug stuck to the wall behind you and to keep sticking your butt back until you plug it up. Whatever works for you. You can imagine anything sticking out of the wall. The point is, plug your butt up with it. Could be a doorknob. The audio was acting a little wonky for Layne's review of my second attempt, but he did say that I got rid of the butt wink for a couple of reps. See, that's where he said it right there. And clearly you can see it for yourself in this before and after example. Wink. No wink. So now that we know how to fix the butt wink and my squats are up to 75% approval on the Layne Norton-o-meter, we can get back to talking about fat loss.
Fat loss is going to require some form of cognitive restraint. You have to have cognitive. Now you can pick your form of cognitive restraint. If you don't want to restrict the foods you eat, then you either have to do tracking calories. If you don't want to restrict the foods or the quantities you eat at the times you eat them, then you've got to restrict time, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like your choose two, right?
I would, but at the same time, those types of foods are engineered to make you want to overeat them. They're like pizza or chips or any of that. I mean, that's designed to get in as quickly as possible.
I wouldn't say engineered is the right word, because they're
formulated. There's a science behind
it. They're
French
formulated
fries.
to taste good. They're formulated to taste good.
And to require as minimal
but
effort to get a lot of it in as possible.
Well, that kind of makes it sound a little bit sinister, and I don't think
Totally, though, isn't it? Doesn't McDonald's want to sell
sinister.
as much as possible and have you come back as often as possible?
Of course they do. But they do that by making it taste good. McDonald's you go back to because it tastes good and it's cheap.
Isn't that the ultimate recipe, though? You can afford this every day, and you're going to want it every day if you have no control.
Well, and this is why obesity is such a multifactorial disease, is because there's monetary elements to it too, right? Like, so I had a friend who he was tight for money, and he figured out that he could pretty much live on bagel bites because they were the most calorically dense, least costly thing.
So the money-saving element of, say, fasting.
Well, I think it's.
If you only eat every other day, then you're cutting your food budget in half.
I think what actually, if I found anything attractive about fasting, it would be the time-saving element. To be honest,
that too.
You get a shitload of stuff done if you're not eating. Maybe fasting indefinitely is the answer. Maybe we just don't eat any protein, carbs, or fats, and then you'll be perfectly healthy until you starve to death. People don't understand context either, so people hear sugar is addictive. Is it really? Most people don't even overeat on exclusively high sugar foods. They're overeating on foods that are high in sugar and fat. Because those are what are really tasty. Those are donuts and fries and pizza. And those are what's not sugar, but it turns to sugar in your body. I've never heard somebody say, oh my God, I just can't stop eating bananas.
If you want to eat, right, if you don't want to fast, this is where the potato diet, just like you were saying, one potato is very satiating.
Very satiating.
If you make a deal with yourself, I'm only eating this one food today. If it's not pizza, if it's not fries, but if it's like a whole food, like a yam or a potato or even apples, you can have as many yams, as many potatoes as you want. And I've done this with myself. I had like a large yam. I ate half a yam and I'm done. Like I don't want to look at the other half of it. I've already made the deal.
And that's no butter, no sugar, just
plain microwave, nothing on it.
People think, oh, potato, that's carbohydrates, sugar, that sort of thing. Okay, well, try to eat a whole baked potato with no butter and no sugar on it. It's the addition of the fat to that, which is what really makes something very palatable, right? So
you make it monotonous also, and you take away all the variety.
So that's actually been shown to be an effective way of hunger control, is a very monotonous diet. Eat the same thing every day.
Yep.
Now the problem is, it's very good for hunger control. It's not very good for sustainability.
No,
most people
in the short term. It's just one of the tools to work in, maybe 1 day a week, maybe 2 days a week. But yeah, and you can vary the different single source foods throughout the week.
I think what has been shown, I think what that shows us is that structure is very helpful. People who lose weight and keep it off don't snack. They don't really snack that much. They have defined meals and they limit their snacking. You can theoretically overeat on any food, but if you've seen the amount of strawberries that it takes to get like 1,000 calories, I mean, you would be extremely bloated from that. You would not.
And that's what I want to talk about. Magic foods. There are no magic foods, but there are foods that I've found that work like magic in terms of satiating you on very low calories, like beans and potatoes and berries.
What I would find is that I would do pretty well, but then if I had any amount of a quote-unquote cheap food, I would just go crazy. I would have no, I couldn't have one slice of pizza, I'd eat the whole thing. I found that when I allowed myself to have whatever I wanted, and just track it, then I stopped doing that because I felt
You were getting it throughout the week. You didn't
I
feel
felt
like
satisfied.
you were
I
being
didn't
deprived.
feel like, and I also didn't feel like I cheated, right?
Yeah.
So that cheat mentality is very difficult. They call it, there's what's called a disinhibition reflex. Basically, binge eating is what it is. The people that attempt to restrict too much, a lot of times they have that. If that's easy for you, if you find that that's easy for you, you're either not eating or eating, right? Then maybe that is best for you, right? Whereas for me, I wouldn't like that, right? The easiest thing for me is just to track my intake and allow myself to have what I like to have. Different things can work for different people, but there is always going to be some level of cognitive restraint and restriction required. They've shown that people can grow muscle eating, very low protein diets if you're training hard. Are you going to grow as much as somebody who's eating a high protein diet? No. But can you still grow muscle? Sure. There's plenty of vegans out there who have attained impressive physiques.
Like right now, I probably, on average, eat 30 grams a day, which is pretty low. Obviously, some days none.
I mean, that's almost Frank deficient. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, you still have above average muscle mass. When you train, your body, there is a mass effect of stressing a tissue to where it has to respond.
Is the amount of grams of protein important and the sources from a plant-based diet?
Yes. I mean, but again, the quality kind of depends on the leucine content in terms of for building
Which you're
muscle,
trying to minimize anyway.
Which I don't think you need to minimize, but if you're paranoid about it, I would argue that the evidence is very ambiguous to say that leucine is driving carcinogenesis. Even like a ketogenic diet. If I found out I had cancer tomorrow, I'd probably seriously consider a ketogenic diet depending on the type of cancer. Some cancers actually do well on ketones, but if you're controlling calories and you're doing exercise, you're like 95% of the way there anyway.
Yeah.
My big thing is if you want to worry about that stuff, that's fine. Because you exercise, you control diet through certain means, so you're fine. So if you want to worry about these little extra things, that's okay. I don't know about juggling, but there's probably some very basic skills that need to be practiced as a foundation in order to become a very proficient juggler. They're probably not fun and they're probably not sexy. And there's
Nobody
a lot
wants
of people
to do them.
who don't want to do them. They want to worry about all the little fun, tricky stuff, right? Those people probably fail.
Yep.
Right? You're trying to focus on a longevity diet. Probably not the best thing for aesthetics and muscle mass, but you still can get good.
Right.
You still look better
you're
than
picking
most
your
people.
priority.
Right. You're picking your priority. Maybe I'm not maximizing my possible longevity, but I'm probably still going to live a lot longer than most people.
So what's your next project?
We do plan to do about a powerlifting book in the future, not just training, but also nutrition for powerlifting. Probably going to do a reverse dieting book, something a little bit more specific.
I keep up with you. I follow all your videos, and I'm always learning from those. So I appreciate all the contributions that you've made to the sport, and I'm glad that you're still doing more of that. So keep at it. And I appreciate you taking the time here to fuck around with me and look at my butt wink. That was a joy to find out that I have it.
Well, you did. You're doing better than 90% of the people I look at for the first time on squat. So I was impressed in that aspect.
That's good. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having
Maybe
me
I'll see you at SkillCon one of these days.
Maybe. I would like to do it again sometime.
Awesome.
So we didn't work out much, we didn't eat anything, but we did spend more time discussing cancer, squats, fat loss, and plant-based diets more than anyone else in the gym that night. It's still on my bucket list to go out and eat with Layne while discussing the latest research on cancer and muscle growth, or the nanites that'll make that concern irrelevant. But for now, it's time to pick up some donuts. I realized early on in this trip that I didn't want to rely on Rich to drive me around for various reasons, so I rented a car. Rich saw this as an opportunity to take his car into the shop.
You ever have like one thing on your mind that's just consuming you the whole fucking time? Like whatever it is, like this car. Getting this car is like a major project for me now.
Okay, now watch the skill of driving while the camera is...
Yeah, I am. Get my seatbelt on.
So how many pounds have you lost since I got here?
6?
6 pounds?
Yeah.
Okay, and I got here on Monday? 3 days.
Yeah. True that. Now, let me ask you a question.
I don't understand why people think it's necessary to say this or ask permission to ask a question. You've already done it.
If you took a person who eats, way overeats, and then he cuts back a lot, but still he's over 3,000 calories a day, will he lose weight?
No, he just won't gain weight as fast.
He won't gain weight as fast, okay. I always wondered about that. I mean, Jason, there's been days where I got up in the morning and met my friends, and they had like pancakes, waffles, and eggs. Then for lunch, a Whopper, 2 double cheeseburgers, large fry, and a drink. Afternoon, make a spaghetti, go order a pizza, and then a box of pasta at night with a 2-liter bottle of Coke.
And
it had been thousands and thousands of calories.
Per meal. And you were hungry for each one?
No, probably not. I eat out of boredom, I know that.
But you had the space for it.
Yeah.
So I came here primarily to shoot Rich's show, get together with Layne, and now somehow I've been roped into opening for Rich's show. So I'm going to do about 10 minutes on this stage.
The time for food has finally arrived. Bring your dry cleaning, and then pass the time right next door by engorging your veins and arteries with the highest quality ingredients from Mojo Donuts. Just look at these works of art. It's not just the ingredients. It's not just that it inspires a new religion based mostly on donuts. It's the design and 3D subsurface scattering, subdivision, and just the right ratio of Fresnel to refraction. But wait, there's more. I have my donuts and I'm taking them to Frankie's Deli at 2596 West 84th Street, Hialeah, Florida 33016, where Frankie of Frankie's Deli was awaiting my arrival.
I'm here at Frankie's Deli with Frankie, and we're gonna eat some sandwiches today. Your croissant breakfast sandwich looked really good. Pictures of that on Yelp.
Yes.
Can we get one of those?
Sure, of course.
What's in that?
You can either mix it with egg whites, regular eggs, bacon, or ham, or all together. Put some onions and tomatoes with some peppers in your eggs if you want to mix it. We put 2 ham croquettes on there, which are fried ham croquettes. And it also takes little potato sticks, papita, which are julienne potato sticks. We call them papitas here in Hialeah.
Okay.
But it's julienne potato sticks.
Okay.
And along with the fried croquettes, the ham, the bacon, onions, tomato, the cheeses, that's called the Fat Boy sandwich. We can do it for you on the croissant.
Let's do it on the croissant. Yeah, I got a thing for croissant.
No problem. We can do it on the croissant for you.
Why did you start this business?
Previous to this, I was an inspector for Subway 23 years ago. So when I wanted to do it on my own, I had a few different ideas. And I wanted to have it a little bit more homely.
All right, I know what you're thinking. When you gonna eat something? All right, well, let's start with this breakfast sandwich. And joining me to help cut the calories in half is juggler turned firefighter Alfonso Guerra. When eating a meal like this, it never hurts to have a paramedic nearby. Much more useful than a juggler.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Usually would never eat this before I have a show because I gotta fit into my pants. But there's these little ham and potato croquettes. See, I think the bacon is still crispy inside. Maybe if we're very quiet, you can hear the noise of the crunch. Nope. Well, we got 2 more sandwiches coming.
Oh, good.
We have a tuna. I haven't had eggs in, it's been a year at least.
Without eggs?
I stay away from eggs, yeah. A sandwich like this you want to eat once every 5 years.
Bacon's hard to resist, I must admit.
Yeah. We lived through the breakfast sandwich.
We did.
I told myself I was just going to take a couple of bites of each one.
That was good.
It's 1 o'clock. First show is at 7. As of now, I've got 6 hours. I mean, there's not much you can do other than just try to digest. Maybe walk it off or something, I don't know.
Here you go.
Oh boy.
This would be the Italian.
Right.
This would be the tuna. And I'm going to give you extra baskets now
Right.
for you to work out of. That's just
All right.
everything here is sliced every morning fresh. The lettuce, tomatoes, all the onions are all cut fresh every morning. My meats, my cheeses, all those are cut to order every morning. And Italian meat mix, that's by far is my most popular sandwich. It's ham, salami, and capicola. It's a hot capicola, not the sweet one. So it's a sweet, salty, and zesty, and we grill that. Being that we're in Hialeah and everybody likes their food hot, brings out more of that sweet, salty, and zesty flavor that I mentioned. We go through 18 pounds of an albacore solid white tuna, and that one did come out the best tuna sandwich in Florida and second best in the United States on the internet, on some of the food websites on the internet.
I have not had tuna, at least in 3 years. I've not had tuna in 3 years.
Wow. We had a guy at the firehouse that ate tuna every day, and he got those mercury levels. Right. With his things that he cut down. He loved the tuna every day. It's not good to have mercury in your blood.
So is being a paramedic what you're going to end with?
Well, I'm a fireman, paramedic, because down here you have to do both. I've been doing it 15 years, so I have 10 until I retire. So I'll have 10 more years until I retire. And I like doing it. It's a fun thing. You hang out with your buddies, or you can work out. I work 9 days a month, so I can travel.
Really?
Yeah, it's only
That's all it is?
It's 1 day on, 2 days off. It's it's just a great job. You hang out with your buds, you cook, you play freaking Xbox, you know.
I was going to get the pastrami and the Philly cheesesteak. Just based on the pictures that I saw, those are more my style.
Yeah, I'm a Philly cheesesteak person.
You can order one.
I'm good. You sure? I used to run on a treadmill. When I was running like that, I got off on the fact that people would finish their workout and say, "That guy's still on the treadmill." You know, it's almost impressive that you can go past where people go.
We want to try a Philly cheesesteak or eat some donuts? Or both?
Do both.
Alright, this is a cronut with Bavarian cream inside.
Man, why is it that you can eat more when it's a sweet? Like right now, I wasn't hungry, but now I'll finish this thing.
It's a magnificent combination.
No, it's really, really, really excellent. Who are these people?
Wow. So that's like the reverse tool if you want to eat more, which no one should ever want to, but if you have to, for whatever reason, flip-flop back and forth between savory and sweet.
You do that.
Salted caramel cheesecake.
Holy shit.
I think we should try that one.
I actually always wanted to be a fireman.
What are you going to do after your 10 years or
I'm learning how to fly now. We have a couple planes. My brother and I started an entertainment company. It's a special effects company called Global Special Effects. It's like
Is he still doing the snow machines?
That's it.
I think it's all because of that snow machine that we're sitting here right now. Because your brother was on the ship installing a snow machine.
Yes.
We spoke for like 3 hours that night.
Yeah.
It's all this stuff. That's what makes it. That's a salted caramel with cheesecake. You could probably throw this in a Philly cheesesteak and it'd be good.
Here's your Philly cheese.
Oh, man.
All right.
There you go.
Thank you. I could go for another donut now.
Yeah. A little different than your normal cheesesteak.
I never had these, so I don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah, it's a little different. It's good. Like
Is it saucier? Is that what it is?
Saucier, a little saucier. It's good. It's like a Cuban cheesesteak.
One more donut?
Yeah, I'll do that. Another donut.
I would say the Nutella brulee.
Let's do that one.
Well, it's kind of light. Might have room for another one after that. This is the Nutella brulee. So it's like a creme brulee, hard sugar topped Nutella on the inside. Oh, not that bad. Just a little bit of Nutella.
Cheers, buddy. Normally you're full vegan, right?
I try 6 days a week. So far I don't regret any of the donuts. It's like a chocolate pudding almost. Or cannoli donut. Alright. And yeah, this feels like it'll be the last donut. This one's a little heavier. I would have done this anyway. I fast and I save up the calories, I get my body fat down, then I'll do something like this once, and then I'll take a week off from it, recover from it, first couple of days, make even more progress. I'm gonna try to do this in 2 bites. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
So you can keep making progress with one day like this.
No different than a cheat day that you have.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, it's not even a cheat day, it's a cheat meal. Like this is earlier than I normally would eat, just because I have the show tonight.
Right.
Who wouldn't combine a cannoli with a donut? That was a good idea. They said this is a relatively new one. I would go back tomorrow for this one.
Yeah, this one's good.
Because even the donut material,
Soft.
cannolis are like crunchy and then the cannoli filling, but to combine that with a soft donut,
He's onto something.
or onto something. Man, I wish I'd have gotten 2 of these. If I stop eating by 2, I'm just gonna take a look at the rest of the donuts I have. Rice pudding I could probably handle. How are you feeling?
Sweets I can do.
It's a little heavy. That's rice pudding in there. A caramel little swirl on top. Alright. This is a good combination.
It's another good. Well, you guys, you did what what's his name wanted to do for years. Lucas. Lucas wanted to push the thing to the Olympics, which would have been a lot harder to pull off. And you got on ESPN, which is great.
Yeah, there's a story behind that.
Yeah, was that rough or what?
I haven't talked to him since then. Since I started the World Juggling Federation, got it on ESPN. And that's not through lack of effort on my part. I called him because I thought...
Oh, talk to
Albert Lucas.
Albert Lucas, okay.
So when I got the deal with ESPN, I called him. I was like, "Hey Albert, I got a convention I'm running. I've got programming on ESPN. You want to come and try to break your 12 ring or 13 record, whatever it is?" And he paused quite a bit. He's like, "Wow, really? Oh, okay." And like a lot of what he was talking about was like, I guess when people look back on this, though, you'll be the one who did it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Do you want to come and do it or not? Like he was fixated on what it is that I set up rather than what I wanted him to do. Next thing I know, this is before I got the domain. He said, "What's the name of the organization?" I said, "Oh, World Juggling Federation." So he goes and buys worldjugglingfederation.com. he goes and buys it. Sure. He hasn't talked to me since then. He said he would show up. He didn't show up.
But that's just blatant, just out of the blue, gonna buy a name because he couldn't come. He had years to come up with that.
Yeah. No, I mean it's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence.
It was the very same day or the very next day. As soon as I checked on it, I gotta start thinking about the show now. I guess.
Yeah, do your thing.
But hold on. Wow, almost made it.
You almost did.
Do you want to share this Corona? Because I'm gonna eat it.
Whatever, I'll share it with you.
All right.
And this cronut would mark the end of the pre-show feeding window. We talked a lot more, interesting stuff, but there wasn't enough eating footage to cover Alfonso relaxing back and outside of the frame, but maybe I'll figure out a way to work in what we talked about later on. But for now, it was time to pack it up and head back to prepare for the show.
And I got in the car and I got hungry again. And I still have this banana pudding, there's a cookie on top. I eat that for, ooh. This is good. Banana flavor stuff is not my favorite. This is really good. These are the first donuts. I don't feel bad about eating this. It's so worth it. Now I'm done for real. It's going to be an interesting show tonight. I am going to be sucking in like I've never sucked before. I got 4 hours before I got to get into those pants. I'm wearing the belt that I'm going to wear in the show. It's still on the third hole, so it still fits. But I kind of, instead of putting the belt on after eating, it grew with the meal. So I don't know.
He's a world champion juggler, and he's also the president of the World Juggling Federation. Okay, without further ado, Jason Garfield.
Now most jugglers do, they juggle blow clubs and glow balls in the dark, which I don't really understand because how do you know it's really them? How do you know they didn't just... I like to get the credit. How do you know they didn't just pay someone better than them to go out there and do like the really hard stuff in the dark, and then go back and give them the clubs and they go, hey!
I know, right?
As I was saying, all right, calm down.
So as you can tell, it was a small audience, like 11 people or something, but I did what I could in 8-foot ceilings. Got in some 360s, some overhead throws. The audience seemed to like it. Some of them were more vocal than others.
You have good triceps.
Thank you. Well, if you don't like the juggling, you got that.
Anyway, the point is, even after eating at Frankie's and Mojo Donuts, I still fit into my performance pants and performed perfectly. Mission accomplished. Time to wrap this fucker up and get ready for Thanksgiving and then New York. But before we go, let's find out how Rich did on the Jason Garfield Hunger is a State of Mind diet.
I initially weighed in at 360 pounds. Next day, that was 355.8. And then you put me on your regime.
Well, that was you were already on it after
Well,
that
yeah,
first
but
day.
no, but then you cracked down on it.
Okay.
You made my life very miserable.
Okay.
But I will say with a positive result. He had me eat sweet potatoes instead of slices of pizza. On Tuesday, he tells me it's salad day, meaning I can only eat salads.
Well, it wasn't just going to be salad, but I was going to introduce you into the salad that I make.
With the dressing.
And then I was going to see if that was filling enough for you. I was going to just take you one step at a time. Here's a salad. Do you feel like you need anything else? If you want something else, I was going to give you an apple or a sweet potato. I was going to give you stuff to fill you up.
Yeah, but we didn't have a blender to make the salad.
We didn't have a blender.
Dressing.
Right.
So, anyway,
Layne didn't want to eat. I ended up not eating with Layne. I fasted for 42 hours to prepare for the workout with Layne, and then we were going to go eat somewhere, but he never got back to me where he wanted to eat. I'm back in the car with Rich. I haven't eaten anything. Now my plans are all thrown into turmoil. I don't know what to do. So I malfunctioned. I said, let's just go to Burger King and Dunkin' Donuts. He would only stop once for me. So I wanted to get the most bang for my buck. So I'm like looking, and then we go down Crocodile Alley, which is like
Alligator Alley.
Alligator Alley, which is like 100 miles of nothing. You can't get off.
We had to make our move before we actually got on the physical road.
And all I found was a Burger King. I ended up getting the oldest, most stale Whopper, which he still wanted. I gave up on it. I didn't want it.
In my defense, a 5-hour car ride with Jason with only on one sweet potato, yes, I would have eaten the Whopper, no matter how disgusting it was. After you picked through it and ate the pickles and the tomatoes off of it, I decided through listening to Jason that I'm going to start my eating at noon every day and try not to eat after 6 o'clock. I said, I might have a salad for dinner. And he said, well, what time are you going to eat the salad at?
It's a horrible impression of me.
What time am I going to eat the salad? I said, all I know is it before 6. Well, are you going to eat it at like 5:30? Or what if you're not? It got a little confusing. Because he's very regiment and
he was not being very clear as to the timing of when he was going to be done eating. You said at 6. I'm like, well, because you said you're going to be done by 6. So are you saying at 6? If you start eating at 6, you're not done at 6. The eating takes time.
This is exactly what I'm talking
because
about.
You have to know. Because you have to keep track.
When you're starving mode.
It was just a simple mathematical calculation I was trying to perform.
Which is hard to do on one sweet potato.
That's why I was doing the math for you.
You were doing the math for me. Yeah, as you're walking out the door to go get your donuts that I couldn't have any of.
That was yesterday.
I actually just got on the scale now, and I am, believe it or not, at 348.9.
348?
Yes, because I didn't eat anything but an apple and did 3 shows yesterday. So I was fasting since Noah took the ark out on an apple and a sweet potato. And Jason's leaving today, and I'm going to miss him so much. I'm going to try to continue this. The fasting has really, really worked. You'd be surprised how, if you keep active and you fast, you're not starving all day long. It really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I used to always constantly eat for comfort, not even being hungry. And every time I'd want to eat here, Jason said, well, you eat because you're bored or because you're hungry? And I said, well, I'm kind of bored. He goes, well, then you're not eating.
There was one day you were so upset with me. You weren't even hungry anymore. You were so agitated. You went out to a card game with your friends. They had pizza there, and you ate a slice of pizza.
No, sushi.
Sushi. You came back with pizza.
That was from the other night.
Okay.
So I brought back 3 pieces. Figured Jason would maybe on his cheat day eat it, or whatever with his tofu, whatever the hell he eats. And he picks the pizza up and he smells it. He smells everything before he eats it for some particular reason.
Who doesn't do that?
Any human
That's
being.
why we have the
smell it if you
sense
think
of
it's
smell.
bad, not as it comes out of the oven. Just like I gave you the donut at the showcase.
Oh my God!
He tells me
old age community donuts.
First day he gets me. I'm just in the mood for donuts. I'm in the mood for donuts. So we're at the showcase for this condominium, and they got donuts in the back. I thought I'd be a nice guy, bring him a donut, nice chocolate glazed donut.
While I was fasting for my dinner with Layne, that ended up not happening. But he mentioned
in the car on the way there that he wants a donut.
I've been talking about donuts for weeks. Right. That doesn't mean that I want one right away.
I was being a nice guy to deliver it, and immediately picks up and smells it. Not sure I'm going to eat that. Not sure I'm going to eat that.
I didn't say not sure. I said definitely not going to eat that.
I misunderstood you. I thought you really wanted a donut, so I was saving you a trip. I didn't know you were going to go to the place in Miami and eat a donut the size of a freaking tire.
Right. Well, 6 of them.
Yes. My friend Joey is a yoga teacher here in Miami and very fit. And he's a little guy, though. One day I did something what he thought was inappropriate to him, using my thumb in his buttocks. But he turned and ran at me, and he's a martial artist too, and he punches me, and he weighs 140 pounds. You know, I take better bigger poops than that. But anyway, he ran at me and smacked me in the jaw, and all you heard was like that. It, for some reason, didn't faze me. He hit me wrong, and he busted his hand on my jaw. So I feel great now. I mean, I'm not really that hungry right now. It's almost 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's Sunday. Football day is going to be a challenge because I like eating in front of the TV watching football, but I got my apples. I got sweet potato up there. Sweet potatoes is a key. I didn't really think you could eat a sweet potato with. I used to put butter, cinnamon, like everybody on them. But actually, you put it makes for a great snack, and it fills you up. The carbs fill you up. It really does good.
It's the fiber.
The fiber.
Just about 11 pounds in 5 days is not bad. Of course, he basically didn't eat anything, and it takes a specific type of person to eat nothing but air on a regular basis. But for now, it's time to head back to the gym to prepare for Naked City Brewery, Thanksgiving, and 24 hours in New York before my next contract. In this episode of Fast Food, I've gotten much better at driving with my GoPro attached to the wheel. I ran out of Spirit pre-workout and have recently become addicted to Bang, Super Creatine, whatever the hell that is, 300 milligrams of caffeine, and the evil branch chain amino acids. A pre-workout cancer growth drink all in one. Well, what can you do? Not drink it, I suppose, but fuck that, I gotta get my swole on. I shall leave you now with some of my favorite jokes from Rich's show, and a promise that one day I will return to Mojo Donuts and Frankie's Deli.
3 elderly women sitting on a park bench, flasher comes by, flashes them. First lady has a stroke. Second lady has a stroke. Third lady couldn't reach. 3 plus-size women are sitting at the bar, and they have a bit of an accent. And a gentleman overhears them speaking and goes up to them and says, "Hey ladies, are you from England?" And they look at him real disgusted. They said, "Wales!" He goes, "I'm sorry, are you Wales from England?"